Oh fuck yeah, guys. What's going on? This is Eagz. Now, I got the go-ahead from KAOS'S to do this video, so yeah, if you actually like want to learn what jungling is at the highest level, if you want to like climb divisions and tiers, I honestly think this video can do just that, based on what we're going to get into here. And also just another thing about KAOS'S, he's been ranked 1 at US, and I think he's the best jungler I've seen in terms of like what I teach and stuff and how I see the game. He pretty much does like everything that I would teach a student, and yeah, I would see myself. This gameplay is very, very clean from this point onwards, and no doubt that some of it is going to be kind of like, not eye-opening, I don't really want to say that, but it might go against maybe what you think about jungling, maybe, yeah, based off what you've learned from other people or whatever. Anyway, in this game, the details are these. He's 2-0, right? Doesn't really matter about that. But yeah, anyway, in this game, he's kind of fed, and he's about to hit level 6 off this minion wave. Now, if we look at the minimap for a second, if you ever want to, like, kind of contextualize a game, if we look at the minimap, his whole top side is up. That means he's got about 400 gold on his top side, right? Rift Herald is also up in 40 seconds. It's close to 7.5, 8 minutes here. The enemy Kindred, though, importantly, is ganking bot lane here. And by the way, guys, KAOS'S links will be down below. I'll even put a comment down there, and you can just definitely follow him on Twitch. He's live, like, pretty much every day. Now, the Kindred here is in the bot lane ganking, and KAOS has a lead on the enemy Kindred. I'm pretty sure he's killed her a couple of times already. Now, whenever you're in this position as a jungler, you can see when I just press, or when KAOS pressed tab there, the enemy Kindred, who's level 5, and Talon's level 6, only had about 29 CS. So he's very, very far ahead of the Kindred here. Now, what timings are important around 7 minutes, let's say? And remember, when he looks at Kindred, so again, it's all just all like information we're trying to get here so we can find the best move possible. So as he's farming here, we can see that Kindred is level 5 on the scoreboard, right? Then he's going to path top, and Kindred is level 5 still on the bot wave. I've got to try to pause this at the right time. So with this information, Kindred being level 5 and Talon being level 6 with a Dirk and Warhammer, what do you think the play should be here for Talon? What do you think is on the map that Kindred is most likely going to run towards? So what spawns at around 7 minutes? It's your first, like, actual buff, right? So whether you started at red buff, that will respawn just like KAOS'S red buff is respawned. Kindred started at her red buff in this game, so at around 6:50, 7 minutes, her red buff is going to spawn again. I also love what KAOS does here. I don't know if he did this intentionally, but he starts running towards his top side jungle. Now, this is great, because as he hits that last minion mid lane, it might actually kind of, like, deceive the enemy champions, enemy players, into thinking, oh, this guy's going to his top side, he's not even going to, like, hit me at my red buff here. The Kindred might be thinking. But then KAOS actually, like, kind of comes back here knowing that Kindred is level 5, and that he can actually make a play on her, right? Now, easily, like, just one-shot her on any camp she's doing. Then he looks bot, which is great. Because you have to know, guys, like, if laners are going to react to this, and if they're in a position to react to this. Like, if Annie's half HP like she is here, only level 4, it's really not that big of a threat. She doesn't have her stun up, right? Zeri might be a threat, level 6, she's full HP. It doesn't look like she's going to recall anytime soon. And if Annie recalls, it gives KAOS, like, a good 30 seconds on his own, right? To 1v1 the Kindred or steal one of her camps. Now, Annie's recall gets stopped, and KAOS here is seen on a ward. Oh my god. But Talon has the mobility and strength here still to make a play on the Kindred. So even if he gets collapsed on it, it might sound really risky, he's easily in a position to actually make this invade still. Even when he comes over here, right, there's a control ward here. Notice how he uses his sweeper as well, because you want to know if it's warded or not. If it is warded and you don't know, you will get collapsed on and you will die like 100%, right? So you have to know, guys, when you're making these plays, if it's warded or not. Now, as soon as he jumps over here, he starts the red buff. Why is Kindred not doing this? Because she's probably on her Krugs. Now, KAOS could always E over the Krugs wall and try to assassinate her on Krugs if she thinks she's there. But she's 100% going to come to red buff. So it's almost like, why would you kind of risk jumping over a wall to Krugs? Because she could be, like, near her bot tier 2 when you jump over. And she just, like, queues to safety or something. Annie might be there waiting, and you lose half your HP, and then they just kite you, right? So why not just actually do a red buff straight away to try and, like, entice her here in a way? Mid lane also has Prior, which is very important, and we knew this back here, right? The Cassiopeia is in mid lane. The Victor is not here, which means Cassiopeia is going to have priority and can move to help KAOS. KAOS ends up getting this red buff. Now, unfortunately, he doesn't actually get, like, kind of on the right side of this blast cone, so he gets knocked over to his red. So it looks like a little risky, and it might be a little risky making this play. But what happens in the end is that he draws, like, this many people here and ends up killing the Kindred as well. Yes, the Victor ends up killing KAOS, and he gets double buffs. But This move, I would be much happier with this move because the Kindred is 1-2-1. Look at the scoreboard for me. Cassiopeia can still play the game, and KAOS got a kill on top of this. Kindred doesn't have a red buff. Like, this is the most useless champion I've ever seen. Victor getting double buffs and being in this position is a lot more worth than Kindred just full clearing for free at level 5, and you're a level 6 talent. Hopefully that makes sense. So Kindred being in, like, this much of a hole is way more worth when Victor, even when Victor is like in this position with double buffs, then yeah, not doing anything. In the next couple of minutes, KAOS is just going to GG the game, right? He ends up getting like, 4 or 5 kills in the next 2-3 minutes. What information did we just get? Kindred is level 5 without red buff. She probably did her Krugs as well, right? So Kindred's probably going to run to a top side here. What's up top side? Well, KAOS has all his camps. He also has a Mart camp for Kindred, and Rift Herald is up. Prio top lane, Prio mid lane for a little bit longer until Victor maybe comes back, okay? So that's what we're thinking about here. Also, Victor used his flash, right? So in terms of the map state, mid lane we know is really gankable because Victor doesn't have flash, so if that mid lane is ever pushing, we can hit Victor, but we need to know if areas are warded or not. We also have our top camps up. So if I'm KAOS here, honestly, I would probably just clear down from Krugs because he did his Krugs in the early game. So if you ever do Krugs like at level 2 guys after your red buff, generally you want to keep getting them. Okay, if you don't do your Krugs, so let's just say you do like Red Raptors Gromp, your Raptors will give you enough experience over a period of time where you don't actually have to do your Krugs. But because KAOS did his Krugs here at like level 2, I'd actually just expect him here to go Krugs Red Raptors. But there is a chance that Kindred invades his Raptors here, and if she does, I don't even think it's like bad if she does. The reason being is because it's so fucking risky. Like, Talon is obviously going to run to this mark. Yeah, if you're playing Kindred here. So Kindred honestly should just think about hitting level 6 from our top side camps. That's about it. And probably path to the winnings area. That's what Kindred should do. So Kindred, Gromp, Blue, Wolves, to our Raptors, towards Dragon, towards bot side. Her Zeri can carry this game. Kindred can't. That's why you have to, like, kind of subordinate. Is that the right word? Yourself as a jungler sometimes. But KAOS is so fed he doesn't have to. In fact, fuck the lanes, which is exactly what he just did, right? And that's why he's going to win pretty much every game with a lead. So I think KAOS here should actually just go Krugs, Red into Raptors. If Kindred even gets the mark, like, she'll probably still be level 5, and you can just chase her after that, honestly. Like, you could just run straight to her blue buff here. Now, KAOS is obviously going to do this, right? If you are going to do your top side, you're clearly going to do Raptors here. And when he actually thinks about ganking the Victor, because he knows the lane is pushing, right, he uses his sweeper around these areas. Is this area warded? And he even, like, wraps all the way around to know this, okay? So this is really, really good. And then on the next wave, he's just going to gank the Victor. Ends up getting a kill. I also want to point out something else here, right? Maybe this is Talon specific, but he just uses ultimate. He's less than half HP, and Talon, honestly, like, it's kind of fucking useless without his ult when other champions, like, around level 6 as well. So what he does here is he just goes straight to top grab, even though his teammates are, like, fighting mid, which looks, like, pretty fucking weird, right? But he's getting golden experience. There is going to be no golden experience mid here. The Kindred is also level 6, and she's actually done what we talked about. Blue, Gromp, Wolves, or something, like, towards bot lane, so this is good from Kindred. This is Challenger US after all. But yeah, I just love what KAOS does here. It's just, like, maximum efficiency. He knows there's nothing else he can do mid lane, so just leave it. Before he even does Rift Herald, look how he looks at the top lane. So he looks mid lane, he knows that, okay, kind of sketchy, but Kindred has got a blue buff, and she's probably going to path towards bot, right? Also, Pantheon, he looks top, I'm pretty sure, as well, is in no real position, because not only does he not have prio, but he's also kind of low, so in terms of getting Rift Herald, not kind of low, sorry, he's full HP, but in terms of not having priority, right, he can probably just start the Rift Herald. Also, KAOS' support, the center, is around this area as well, so if he was really scared of Kindred coming over, he could easily ping the center right, but again, Malphite just being here with top prio is good enough, and he ends up getting this. Now, Cassiopeia dies mid. So, in a normal game, what do you think the play is here? Let's just say Cassiopeia is alive. The normal play is probably just a recall, right? Because Cassiopeia will pick up the mid wave, no worries. Or you could even do your Krugs maybe to put them on a timer. It depends on gold as well. Like, if you need the... for example, like, he probably needs Krugs if he goes, like, Ghostblade, right? With his Dirk and Warhammer. He would need Krugs for another, like, 200 gold for a Dirk from the 2 longswords at the bottom. So that's what you're considering, right? Is it worth me just getting Krugs for a Dirk or something like this for another item? I might lose a little bit of time on the map, but what time is there on the map right now? Like, okay, we're probably going to lose Dragon regardless, but I don't really want to lose my bot side here, yeah? That's probably like the big counterplay for Kindred. So all KAOS does, he comes mid, he picks up the cannon wave because Cassiopeia is dead, so he's kind of overstaying in a way, you know, according to his items and gold, I guess, and the fact that he did actually kill the Victor mid lane. But this is absolutely fine because, yeah, you get a free cannon wave, right? Yes, you might lose a little bit of time, but no worries. Now, here he protects his mark, and he should know that this area is pretty much warded, which is why he's going to hug the top right of this kind of, like, camp area, just in case Annie does something weird, like, you know, running at him or something with her stun. He can just be over the wall, no worries. Make sure to smite this at the right time as well. And then after Wolves, Like, is there actually that much to do? Cassiopeia starts fighting mid, and guess what? KAOS has his ultimate backup. He also has Ignite. So even though he's sitting on like a mythic here, guys, you have to understand that sometimes you'll be so strong, like KAOS is. Like, even though he has his mythic and he can just recall and make this same play, he's still ahead of pretty much every champion. Like, if we ask ourselves, can you kill the Victor? Can you kill the Kindred? Of course you can, right? Like, you look so strong here. KAOS does anyway. Level 8 with double buffs, and he's got a bunch of lethality and attack damage. He can one-shot anyone. In this fight, I don't really care how he goes. I can show it to you. There they go. They all run off on like 1 HP. Yeah, Kindred ultimate used. So you have to understand, guys, like champion strengths and weaknesses. And yes, I know I go on a lot about like back timings here, but doing that, what KAOS did is absolutely fine because he's still ahead of the game curve. If that makes sense. You can see in terms of items here, like look at the Victor. Do I need a fucking Dustblade or Ghostblade? Do I need to actually recall and get an item to do what I want to do? Of course not. So after he does his wolf camp there, he can just run to mid lane and do whatever the fuck he wants to do. Recalls here, right? Now, after he gets Dustblade and whatever else, we have to think about where you're going to run if you were playing Talon, if you were playing the jungle role. This is something you guys should always do, by the way. Like, if you're ever watching, like, jungle players play, you should pause a video and think about what you're going to do. It's almost like playing chess or TFT in a way. You just pause it and kind of, like, talk your way through it as if you were playing the game. So if I look at this map state here, I know that Victor still doesn't have Flash. I know that Kindred does not have Ultimate. And I'm a level ahead of her. I've also just got my Dustblade, a couple of longswords. I one-shot anyone here. I want to try and time something here on the map. So all I see on the minimap is Kindred Raptors. So Kindred's Raptors into her top side, probably. That's what I'd be looking at here. If she's not at her top side, maybe I can dive the Pantheon, I can dive Victor, because he doesn't have Flash, Kindred doesn't have Ultimate to protect him. That's what should be going through your head here, and it's definitely going through KAOS'S, because that's exactly what he does. And Kindred is actually around this area, so I'm just going to play this out for you guys. You guys can watch it here. Now, in terms of like this play, KAOS doesn't have his ultimate, right? But remember again, he's so strong that even if he just gets like one passive off with his Dustblade, the Kindred is going to get one shot here. Now, is this like a little bit of an overstay? Perhaps. Like, I don't actually know if he should really go for this play. I think backing out is probably good, right? Because Pantheon is here. Cassiopeia is probably going to recall from mid. So I think this was like a little bit of an overextension. But again, I'm just trying to like almost prove a point to you guys and get you guys in this fucking mindset. Yes, it doesn't look too good, and Kindred getting the kill is actually like worth for her, to be honest, and I think KAOS should honestly just E over the wall and then look to hit her somewhere else. So let's just say KAOS runs here, I guess the Gromp, E's over the wall. He can even think of wrapping around like this to a wolf camp, if he thinks she hasn't done it. He can even think of going all the way like this and sitting in raptor camp, something like that, right? Krugs, who gives a fuck? I want to fight someone here. Also, like, have his ultimate up, right? So around this point, if he just E's over this wall instead of fighting, he can wrap all the way around like this. Of course, you want to be using your sweeper. Okay, I guess he has Rift Herald, but yeah, he could always like drop Rift Herald mid and then use his sweeper on the bottom side of mid, so around here. Even though he's got a control wood here. But yeah, hopefully you guys get what I'm saying. But hopefully, yeah, this was like a good video, and it teaches you how KAOS is thinking. Actually, the best players in the world are going to think. Like I said, I think he plays fucking jungle close to perfectly, like every single game. It's so good to watch. His links will be down below. If this video was useful, guys, remember to leave a like on it. Any comments or questions about it, yeah? So any of the moves I kind of got into, leave them down below. I'll see you in the next video. Hit the subscribe button. Bye.